And guess what? It's going to be green. Ready? Green. Hey guys, so we're going to set up a OpenClaw bot running 24/7 on your very own virtual private server. And this is version 2026.3.2. There's a couple breaking changes and I have fixes for that, so make sure you watch the whole video. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're gonna want to do is log into Hetzner, Hetzner, and we're gonna go to create resources. Once we're in, go to servers, and what we're gonna do is click on this middle selection here, scroll down, and then choose the selection closest to you. I'm gonna be in Hillsboro, Oregon, and I just want to make sure that the cheapest server is selected, CPX 11. It's $5 a month. I think they're bumping up the price. Unfortunate, but you know the deal. Scroll all the way to the bottom. You don't need anything in between. And then we're going to change the server name. I'm going to call it OpenClaw-Hetzner-2. This is, just a number. You can change this in the future at any time, so don't worry about, if it's good or bad. Now we're going to let this create. Now, in the meantime, they're going to send you an email when this is done. And what we want to do is we want to copy this IP address. This is the IP address for your Hetzner server. So we're going to wait for this to finish creating. When this thing's green, just like that, that means it's good to go. We're going to copy this. We're going to go into our terminal and SSH space root at, and then you're going to paste that IP address in there and hit enter. Okay, it's going to ask if you want to connect. We hit yes. And now we need the password. So what you need to do is go into your email. By this time, Hetzner would have sent you an email that has the password for your server. It's going to look something like this. Okay, password's right here. And what we want to do is we want to copy that password, paste it in here. Remember, this is the terminal and we're entering a password in the terminal, so it's not going to show up, but rest assured it's in there. Once you paste it in here, hit enter, and it's going to say you're going to have to change it. Copy that password in there again with a Control V if you're on Windows and a Command V if you're on Mac. Type in your new password, and again, it's not going to show up because it is a terminal, and we're just going to type in the password for the server, hit it twice, and now we're in the server. That was pretty easy. So once we're in the server, we want to do two things. We want to update the server. So we do sudo apt update, hit enter. This is going to update all the security features and things and keep everything up to date. Give it a second there. And the second thing we're going to want to do is sudo apt upgrade. It's going to make sure everything's up to date. Hit Y to continue, and it's going to install a bunch of things just to make sure your system's like good to go. Give it a second here. In the meantime, while this is loading, we want to have a TailScale virtual private network, or VPN. So what you need to do is go to tailscale.com, sign up, open up an account. It's completely free. That's the amazing part. It's completely free. Get everything set up. And what you want to do is go to your machines page. Once you're logged in, scroll down, and we're going to hit Linux here. And what's going to happen is it's going to open a new documents page. There's a lot of text on here. Don't worry about it. All we need is this curl command here. Just copy that. And at this point, our server is set up. First thing we want to do is reboot, reboot. And this is simply going to restart the server, make sure all the updates are properly set inside. And we're going to hit up. Now, this is the cool part. So we're still SSHing directly into the server. We're not on any virtual private network. And once this is good to go, give it maybe like 30 seconds to reboot. You hit enter, type in the password you just put in. Now we're back in the server. And we're going to paste that address that we just copied from the TailScale documentation page. This is going to install TailScale on your server, and give it a minute. Okay, cool. It's good. What we want to do here is copy this TailScale up and just paste it in there, hit enter. And what's going to happen is they're going to give you this URL. You're going to copy this URL, go back to your browser, put it in the browser, put it in the bar, sign into your account. And this is going to connect your computer or your Hetzner server into your TailScale VPN. Cool. So it said success. It's good. on to the next. What I like to do now is do another reboot just for good measure. And while that's rebooting, what I want to do is set up a firewall. This is like the ultimate security for your OpenClaw. What we want to do is we want to go back into Hetzner, click on the server, and we're going to click on firewalls, and then we're going to create a firewall. And what we want to do is we want to lock in our server and have it so that you have to be on this TailScale network to gain access to your OpenClaw. Anybody outside of this VPN is not going to have access to your server. So how we're going to do that? We're going to remove this second rule. And then in this first section here, we're going to click in here, hit backspace twice. So we only have IPv4 protocol. We're going to switch it to UDP. And then the port is 41641. And this 41641 is the TailScale port. Once we do this, we're going to do create firewall. You can also rename this later. But once this is on, we have to be logged into TailScale. And we need to have this TailScale connection active in order to gain access to the VPS. And now we're going to test it. So we are no longer in here. We're no longer in the Hetzner VPS. We're going to try this SSH back into the original IP address and watch what happens. I'm going to hit enter. Nothing happens. That means it's blocking us. I'm going to open up another tab here in my terminal, and then I'm going to SSH into the server, which is Hetzner 2, and I'm going to copy this IP address. This is your TailScale subnet. So I'm going to SSH root at, and then paste in that TailScale subnet, hit enter. We're going to connect. It's going to ask me for the password to the VPS. And look, now we're in here. On this page, still blocking us. Cool. So now we want to test to make sure this firewall really does work. So I'm going to exit out of this one. This is still going. I'm going to open a new tab just to start super fresh. And I'm going to turn off my TailScale connection. When you install TailScale on your computer, there's going to be this connect. I'm going to disconnect it. And so that means when I copy this IP address, the TailScale subnet, and I try to SSH root at the IP, this should not let us in. I'm going to hit enter and look at what happens. It's not letting us in. So we've proven and we've secured our server so that you have to be on your very own TailScale network, VPN, your virtual private network created by TailScale in order to get access to your OpenClaw bot. So, okay, now we're super clear that we are not able to get into our server unless our TailScale is on. I'm going to cancel out of this, turn my TailScale back on because we need to get into our server and install OpenClaw. I'm going to close these extra tabs. And here we go. What we want to do, we want to copy this again. Sorry, we're going to copy this one. It should be in here. Yep, SSH root. That's the right IP. And look, it's asking me for the password. I'm in. Let's clear this out. Okay, so now we're going to install OpenClaw. We're going to go to openclaw.ai, the official website, and we're going to scroll down to the quick start here. If you're on a Windows machine, you're going to want to click this change button here. And you're going to select Windows, and then you're going to copy this IWR. If you're on Windows or Mac, if you're on Linux or Mac, you're going to switch to the Mac/Linux, and you're going to copy this curl. And we're just going to simply paste it in there, hit enter. And now it's just going to install OpenClaw. It's going to install all the environment things that you need, all the packages and stuff. And we're just going to hang out for a few minutes and let this thing run. Usually takes between, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, depending on your connection. So while this is installing, I'm going to mention that this version 2026.3.2, there are some breaking changes, and I'll show you what is broken, and then we'll also implement a fix so that you can use OpenClaw without any of these issues. On a side note, If you feel like it's been running for too long, as in it's been running for over 5 or more minutes, what you can do is go into your Hetzner server, go check in on your server, and look at the graphs and look at the CPU. If the CPU is at 200, because you only have 2 of these CPUs, if it hits 200 or if it goes above 200, it means your system might have run into an issue. So thankfully here we haven't run into anything. OpenClaw now is installed. We're probably around like the 2 or 3 minute mark. And once it's installed, it's going to run the setup, also known as the onboarding. And it's basically just going to walk you through installing OpenClaw on your machine. Okay, so we're doing the OpenClaw onboarding now. It's going to give you a security disclaimer. Read it read it on your own. And it's going to ask you if you want to continue. What you want to do is obviously hit yes, because we want OpenClaw. Quick start. And this is where you select probably the most important thing to your OpenClaw. It's going to be your LLM provider. My recommendation right now is Anthropic. You can use your setup token, which has a $20 a month plan. It's really good for starting out. OpenAI also has a $20 a month plan. It's also very good. I personally think Anthropic gives you slightly better results. And what I'm going to do right now, Minimax, I would not recommend it. I tried it earlier and it just wasn't working too well. And I would, generally just avoid it. And I'm going to use Moonshot AI for this video. I've also used Z.ai on the GLM coding plan, but you only want to use GLM5. That's their newest and latest. But GLM5 is only on their mid-tier plan, and that costs $30 a month. So price-wise, I'd rather still go with the Anthropic or OpenAI $20 a month. Kimi K 2.5, which is the one I'm going to install right now, that's only $19 a month. So it's $1 less, and the quality is not as good as Anthropic or OpenAI, but it's still pretty good, and a lot of people like it. So I'm going to do the Moonshot AI Kimi K 2.5, hit enter. Go down to the API key, which is the subscription, hit enter again. How do you want to provide this API key? I'm going to paste it. I'm going to copy and paste it, hit enter. So now it's asking for the Kimi key. I'm going to go into my Kimi.com dashboard. I already have the subscription plan purchased. I'm on the Moderato plan. It's $19 a month. And what I'm going to do now is create new API key. I'm going to call it OpenClaw Hetzner-2, create. And now it's going to give us this key, copy it, done. You can't even see the whole thing, which is nice. Paste it in here. Now you can see the whole thing. Hit enter, and it's going to ask you which model you want. Keep the current model. That's the latest one. And on to the next. Now we have the channel that we want to communicate with our OpenClaw bot. This is really your preference. Telegram, WhatsApp are both pretty good options. I'm going to use Discord for this video. Discord you can connect your OpenClaw to your Discord, your own private Discord server, which is free. And then you can have your OpenClaw actually, you can have your OpenClaw send information to different channels in your Discord server. And so you can kind of manage different conversations. And so you can kind of manage different conversations and just kind of have like a nicer overall like management framework for your OpenClaw. So I'm going to use the Discord bot API, and all of these are going to tell you how to do it. Telegram, it says it's recommended, it's newcomer friendly. But anyway, I'm just going to do Discord, hit enter. And what we want to do now is go to Discord, developer portal, applications, new application. So go to the applications. We're going to create a new application, OpenClaw. We're going to call it OpenClaw-Hetzner-2, the same name as the server. No, I'm not a robot. For the 100th time, I'm not a bot. Okay, so we have the general information here, and then now it says bot, add bot, reset token, copy token. So we're going to go to bot, and what we want to do first is we want to check these 3 boxes. Switch these 3 things on. Save it. Okay. And then now we're going to reset the token. Yes, do it. We're going to need to verify. Oh, man. Good security. 3621. Okay. So that's our token copied. We're going to enter in our bot token, hit enter, configure Discord channel access. So we're going to do an allow list, and the Discord channels allow list. So my server / general. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my actual Discord now. It's called Rich Core and Friends. Let me see server settings, the name. I'm going to copy that. So this is, if you have your own server, this is where you're going to copy it. You're going to do that. And then let's see what server, test-3, test-3. Okay, configure skills now. I'm going to hit yes. These are mostly for if you're using a Mac because they install with Homebrew. So if you're using Linux or Windows, a lot of these are probably not going to work, but it's still good to kind of review and see what things you have access to, and you can always install it later. So ClawHub is really nice, and GitHub. Neither of these are going to work, but I'm just showing you if you have a Mac device. You hit yes to Homebrew. I like to use Bun. It's just faster. And you see here, it couldn't install the skills for GitHub and ClawHub. But anyway, we're going to continue on. We can always add those later. It's going to ask you for a couple API keys for things that are built into OpenClaw that if you give it the API key, it'll automatically do things for you. So for example, Gemini API key, if you want access to Nano Banana Pro, which will create and generate images for you, you can do that. Notion API key, all these are generally you have to pay for. I think Notion might be free. OpenAI, if you want to create images with the Whisper AI, 11 Labs, text to speech, those are all paid for services you can do if you pay for them or if you want to add them onto your OpenClaw. For hooks, I just do session memory. You can read through what these other three do, but session memory for me is the most important. Going to use that. And so now we're installed. So here's our first issue. On this particular version of OpenClaw, the system control has an issue. So if we do OpenClaw gateway status, all of this is red. Everything failed. Nothing really works. But all we need to do, it even says right here, run OpenClaw Doctor. We're just gonna run OpenClaw Doctor. That's just part of the setup. It's just gonna fix everything. Hit yes here for enabling Bash shell completion, and then install the gateway. This is the most important part. Node is the only option you can have, so hit yes as well. Okay, now we're good. We're gonna go OpenClaw gateway status again, and guess what? It's gonna be green. Ready? Green. So now we can actually go into our OpenClaw and check it out, but we're not out of the woods yet. Just want to show you OpenClaw 2e. Okay, so now we're in, and what you want to do is type wake up. You can also type hi and hey and whatever, but this basically is going to turn on your OpenClaw and initialize it for the first time. It's like hatching your Tamagotchi. Hey, I just came online. It's going to ask you for all this stuff.
What should I call myself? I'm going to call you Clawbot. And then what kind of thing am I? AI assistant is the default, but we could go weirder. A digital familiar, a ghost in your machine, a very organized raccoon. I don't know, man. An organized, let's do 2. An organized ghost raccoon. A familiar and organized ghost raccoon. 3, positive. Basically, describing the attitude, positive and helpful and efficient. Not too wordy. Key. You don't want this thing yapping about because 1, it's annoying to read that much text, and 2, it actually burns some tokens. And then 4, what do you want the emoji to be? I don't know. What do ghost raccoons like to do? I don't know. What are raccoons? Just a raccoon? Raccoon emoji? I wonder if that exists. And then hit enter. And it's basically going to set itself up. Okay. Now it's going to ask you for you. Who are you? What's my name? My name is Rich. What should I call you? Just call me Rich, man. And what time zone are you in? PST for time zone. And so I don't suggest coffee 3 a.m. That's all you need. My name is Rich. I'm in PST time zone. So now it's going to get all this set up. We should talk through SoulMD together. It's about how I behave. So the SoulMD, I actually have a link to that on my personal website. It has my personal SoulMD, and if you join my Discord server, you can actually ask my bot for its SoulMD, and it'll tell you. So right now, last thing from Bootstrap, we should walk through this thing. Just create something basic for now. I'm going to update it later. Pretty straightforward. I want to get to the good stuff. Okay, so I'm all set up.
First thing I want to do, I'm going to do / think, hit space, and then I'm going to switch it to medium because the setup is only medium, but later when you're done with that, you can switch it up to adaptive, but medium, I'm just going to switch it to medium. So the first thing we want to do, and this is going to expose the second issue of this version, is We want to set up memory swap, 4 gigabytes. Set up 4 gigabytes of memory swap. Memory swap is basically when your system is out of RAM, it's going to use some of its hard drive memory as temporary RAM so it can do more stuff. Basically, it makes your $5 a month, 2 gigabyte server a lot more functional. So this is the first issue that we're running into. This is a security issue, and it is a breaking issue. All that means is it's going to cause you some problems, but I got the answers to your problems. So I don't have direct shell access through my available tools. You'll need to run these commands. Usually what you want to do is you want OpenClaw to be able to do this by itself. You don't want to be copy and pasting these things all over the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to Control C out of this thing. And then we're going to copy some of these things over. So the first thing we're going to want to copy is OpenClaw config set tools.profile space full. That's going to give you one set of access. And then OpenClaw config set tools exec host space gateway. I'm going to type that in there for you just again so you can see it. OpenClaw config set tools exec host gateway. Next thing we want to add is OpenClaw space config space set space tools.exec.security space full. Hit enter. Okay. Then lastly, OpenClaw space config space set space tools.exec.ask.off. Hit enter again. Okay, and now we need to restart the gateway, which is simply OpenClaw gateway restart. Hit enter. Okay, now OpenClaw 2e. I'm just going to copy this again, set up 4 gigabytes of memory swap. I'm just going to paste it in there. You see how before it's like I can't do any of this. You have to copy and paste. So now your 2 gigabyte VPS is basically a 6 gigabyte VPS. And if you want more, you can always change it. If you think 4 is not enough or you're running into memory issues, bump it up to 6 or 8 or 10. Follow for part 2 where we set up your Discord bot in your Discord server as well as the dashboard UI for your OpenClaw.